So this is me at kind of a normal speed, and I'm focusing, just really focusing on where I'm putting the right needle tip. I'm trying to hold the left stitch or the left needle with its stitches relatively stable, and the right hand is doing all of the motion. If both hands do too much movement, it's likely that the stitches will pop off. So I'm stretching the stitch open as I push the right needle through and lassoing up the yarn, which is just behind it. So the first thing that I want to worry about is how tight my yarn is. So keeping good tension with such a thin thread, I actually wrap twice around my pinky and then over my index finger, and that keeps the yarn really tight. So I'm going to put my needle in, and the first couple of stitches are usually a little bit awkward because you're trying really hard not to drop them. But you can see I'm knitting continental, so the yarn is carried on the left hand. The needle tip goes into the stitch, but I stretch it slightly as I go in, and that gives me the opportunity to swing the tip of the needle around and meet the yarn and pull it through, and then I just pull it right off the top, and then that previous stitch shrinks down when I yank the next one open. And this is one of the ways that I can keep a relaxed set of hands while knitting, while simultaneously making sure that the gauge stays nice and tight on these kind of densely knit silk stockings, which, if we do our job right, should last a really, really long time. We may have to do some repairs here and there over the years that they're worn, but for the most part, they should be pretty durable because of this density and this tension. All right. Let me do the next needle, and I'm going to do it quite a bit slower so that you can see more clearly. All right, I'm grabbing up that first stitch, I'm moving the stitches up the needle, in, grab, through, and off, in, around, and off. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is difficult for me to do this slowly. I'm very sorry. Okay. Let me finish out this needle, and you'll see me pausing every now and again. The needles are really sharp, and sometimes they split the yarn, and I can feel it in my fingers when that happens. So I have to pause and pull the needle out carefully and replace it in the stitch. If I don't do that carefully, then I run the risk of dropping the stitch off the needle tip, which means that it is very, very fine knitting, and it's really hard to pick the stitch back up. I have to get a very fine crochet hook to do that work. 1, 2, and 3.